Yo, what's going on? Welcome to the live stream. It's Q&A, and I'm just going to give you some information on the channel. So, if you haven't watched the video yet, this is now Cards and Capital. We're not Potato Poker anymore. And if you haven't seen the video explaining that, I will link it for you when this is done in the description when this thing posts live. But really, the goal here is to talk about the year for YouTube earnings, for poker earnings, and then talk about the channel and what's coming up next, and then give you guys a chance to say hey and ask questions if you'd like to. So let's start off. I'm going to share my screen here, and we'll start off by talking about YouTube. So the biggest question I get all the time with being a poker vlogger, doing this whole thing is what kind of money's out there? What kind of work is in it? So I'll tell you that most vlogs for me take probably a good 20 plus hours to put together, depending on the vlog and depending on how complicated it is. So I'm probably 20-ish hours into a vlog, maybe more like anywhere between 2 to 5 hours for some of the short content and anywhere in between. So that's just to give you an idea of the hours that are in there. We're 18 months in. And how much have we made? Drum roll, please. Here we go. Hopefully you can see that okay. If you can't, let me know. But that is, I'm going to zoom it in just a little bit here. So let's zoom this in. And there's the total right there, 95 whopping dollars. So no, YouTube has not been like super lucrative or anything so far, but really the goal with this wasn't just to become fabulously wealthy. Obviously the money is this like nice option to have on the side, but no, I'm not making much doing the YouTube thing. For those of you, if you're considering like, hey, I might start a YouTube channel and do the poker thing, it's a lot of work and not a lot of return right away. I know we watched a lot of guys, Rampage and a lot of those dudes that just took off right away after the like Andrew Nemi, Brad Owen era that really exploded fast and made a ton of money. I think those days are kind of gone. There's so much like saturation with poker that there's just not a ton of like quick explosion that's going to happen for you if you were starting it. But okay, so there's the YouTube side of it. Let's talk poker and what's going on there. So let's get in. I took a bunch of screenshots and we will start here. So this is the total so far for 2023. You can see I'm only 92 hours into this thing. So not a ton of hours into the year. That's just the result of having a full-time job and a poker channel and a family and everything else that I'm trying to do. And so the number of hours are pretty low, but the earnings are okay. I'm feeling pretty good about it. So we've made a little over 6,200 so far this year. We're averaging our hourly just shy of $68. So we'll call it 67, but the hourly just fine. Feeling pretty comfy with it right now. I think if that were to continue, when we set out to get this channel going, the goal was like 35 to 40 an hour. Obviously, doing better than that. So feeling pretty good about the hourly. If we were to have to go into this as like a full-time gig, I think it's possible. I think again, by the time you pay for your own health insurance and all the other expenses and you're grinding and there's swings, I don't know that I'm ready to like count on this, especially with a small sample size of 92 hours. But as far as where the year is, we're off to a good start. I'll show you a couple of these images here. So this is the graph. You can see there's definitely been some ups and some downs. This is a pretty good swing right here. I think this was my Grayton session. I had a loss and then went to Grayton and got my teeth kicked in, lost $1,500. So that was not like the highlight of my year, but all in all, over time, just keep grinding. These things work out. If you have a decent game and you kind of trust where you're at and you've been playing for long enough, you know that, hey, if I just keep doing this thing and I keep pushing for it, eventually these numbers are going to continue to move north. So pretty happy to see that from the graph. I'll show you. I've got another one here. This is showing the winnings by location. So the Black Pearl has been my biggest winner for location, but obviously I have a lot more time there than Bellagio. This was the 5-10 session from World Series, if you watched that episode. So this was one session, made $600 an hour. Yeah, baby. I just need to figure out how to do that full time. If I can make 600 an hour, I'm probably ready to move on from my job. But Black Pearl, pretty decent. We're making 122 an hour on average. That's not terrible. And the Q, this is Northern Quest, making just over 50, so not too bad. This WSOP, this is Paris, so playing cash during the WSOP at Paris. And then the Peppermill, decent hourly there as well. The problem on the other side of this is we also have some losing sessions. So let's take a look at that. And these are my worst sessions here. So Grayton was pretty horrible, almost losing 200 an hour. That was a 1.5K one session. Had a couple of big hands that just didn't go our way, and we got our teeth kicked in for that one session of 8 hours. Grand Sierra Reno, I just, for whatever reason, couldn't book a win in that room. And then the win, this is one short 2 hour session after having a beverage with Jerry Harris to celebrate getting together at the World Series. So not a not not my best session. I'll admit I wasn't in like the right headspace. That was more of like, hey, let's celebrate, let's go hang out and have a drink. So that's that. And then I wanted to show you guys. So I'm just giving you a quick rundown of what's happening. So if you haven't been following and you didn't see the video and you're not Jess, what's going on, man? Good to see you. If you didn't know what's happening with the channel, I'm going to move into this new world where we're going to be talking about poker, and we're going to be now investing poker winnings into an account, and I'm going to share that with you. It won't just be poker money that goes in there. I regularly put $100 into that account each month, or at least I have been for a while now. But I wanted to give you the starting point. We'll give you the first update video on Friday, but here is what you can expect for the beginning. So our value of that account going into this week here, a little over $8,000. And I'm just going to be showing you guys along the way how I'm investing my poker earnings and what I'm doing to try to run this thing up. We're going to see if we can get an early retirement going, and then get this poker thing happening in a big way. So pretty excited about that. If you have any questions, go ahead and fire them off. I will give you just a little bit more of what to expect with the cards and capital thing in the meantime. So what brought me to the name change from the potato poker? First of all, I really don't mind being called potato and those things. It's been kind of fun along the way. But when I would tell people potato poker, it didn't make any sense to them. People don't naturally just think, oh, this guy's from Idaho. It's, that's what the state's famous for is potatoes. Like, they were just like, is this guy something wrong with him? Is his brain broken? Why is he potato poker? It doesn't make any sense. And I figured if I was going to move into this like whole investing space and really tackle like turning poker money into an early retirement, I wanted to convey that in a way that made sense to people. So that's why I went to the change for the cards and capital. Now, as far as what the channel is going to be doing and what's going to be happening moving forward, I'm going to try to give you a weekly update. So Friday will be the first one of those, and I'm going to try pretty much every Friday, depending on how work goes and my work schedule and stuff, to give you an update of maybe what some news relevant to our portfolio, what's happened, the poker that I've played that week, and the bankroll status, and then how I'm making my investments for that week. So maybe what stocks I'm going to be buying, or if we had like a big loss or we sold something or something drastic changes, I want to let you know about that. So those are things you can expect. But as far as what we're doing with the rest of the channel, you're still going to see poker vlogs. I still want to give you poker strategy and talk a lot of cards. Like, that is still what's going to drive this channel. We're just adding in this cool aspect of like, okay, now that we've made some money at the table, what can we do with it to put ourselves ahead, to put ourselves in a better spot? Now, I don't know, for most of you out there that are watching, I don't know what your situation is, but I would say the majority of us playing poker, we have a full-time job, and then poker is this like awesome supplement to everything, but it's not our primary way of getting by, right? So my goal is like, hey, whether you want to join me or not, you can at least see what the possibility is. And I'm not suggesting that I'm great at investing. I'm learning in the investing space, but I'm going to show you what I'm doing and see if we can run this thing into like a really massive retirement account, and then hopefully have some good cash flow out of it and be able to just like pull some funds and have it provide for an early retirement so I can sit at the table and play quite a bit of poker. If you have any questions, again, feel free to fire those in. I do want to just say really quick, Jess, I see that you're in here, and just wanted to say, like, I appreciate you, and I've met so many cool people through this process. Just want to say thanks to Jess, to Tom Rockpile, to Adam Teeple, Jerry Harris, just tons of cool people that I've been able to meet along the way. I have really appreciated you guys, and it's been the best part of this channel. All right. So as far as the account goes, I'm going to start getting into some of the stocks and what we're doing with the portfolio. probably starting on Friday. There was some good news. One of the stocks that we'll be talking about is Vici Properties, and they own some of the land in Las Vegas. So one of the key investments we're going to be making, um, one of the stocks we'll be owning is Vici Properties, and they're just a dividend payer. They own the dirt underneath Las Vegas, and they got some good news this week, and I'll get into that on the Friday episode and talk about that just a little bit more. And let me go ahead and pull this up one last time. And I just want to talk really quickly as well. If there's no questions, we'll just roll through. But I wanted to talk really quick about what this looked like when I first got started playing poker. So there were a lot of times where like I was just getting my getting my teeth kicked in early on, and poker was not this easy thing where the trend line. I should pull up the trend line. So I don't know where you're at in your poker journey, but there was a time where this up and down it didn't just go up very often. It would have some up and then it would just crash super hard. And I would get really frustrated. I would find myself like studying, but asking a lot of questions of like, how did that guy get so lucky? Or what did he do right? And like, why in the world am I losing when everyone else is winning? That was my early mentality in poker. But over time, as you put this in and you start to see like consistent results and start to see some winning, I think it really helps you to get confidence about where you're going and stuff. Eamon, good question. Ammon, I'm not sure. What bankroll app do you use? So this one is, let me grab my phone here. I'll give you the name of it. I've used a couple of them, and I actually prefer, there's one other app out there that I like better that is for Android, if you have that. So my old phone, I used to use that. This is Poker Bankroll Tracker is the name, and I'll show you I don't know if you can see this or not. Right there. So that is what the app looks like. But yeah, Poker Bankroll Tracker. I like it. It's got some filters, some free options. It does have ads on it. I'm trying to remember the other one that I used on Android, but it was just slightly better. But it's a good app. It allows me to just keep track of what I'm doing. It kind of has everything I need. It's got location, time, graphs, sessions. I can filter by like year or place, location, all kinds of stuff. So a 5-year graph. I don't. I will give you what I have in here. This one switched over. Let me change my filters so they're not on this year. But I will show you what I have. But it is not I think this is a year and a half if I take all my filters off. Just one second. I will set that up for you. So this is a much uglier graph here, but I will still show it to you. Let's see. Can you see that okay? Hold on. Whoop. Right there. Let me make this bigger. Hold on. All right. I'm going to put this up here. I wasn't really planning on putting this up here. My apologies. I'm like, everything's backwards here. So there it is. That's basically since we started the channel. So that is about $9,300. And you can see the huge dip there. That is my first time playing 510 in Las Vegas. And I played the 510, which turned into 510-20 at the Paris. And I got my teeth kicked in. I could get you more from before I started the channel. And that graph is a little bit prettier. It doesn't have a giant like shot taking downslide. But yeah, if you want that, Jess, I'd be willing to go grab it. I would just need to, it'd be a quick pause here. I'd have to go find it. You want me to do that? Well, let me know. If you decide you want to do that, I can go grab it and I'd be happy to show you. Yeah. Oh man, that Vegas trip. I got wrecked and I think I overstepped my bounds there. Like I definitely played above what my bankroll was at that point, and I also played above my skill level. Like to play 510 was one thing, but stepping into 510, which had been turned in by like pros and crushers into 510-20, I think that really elevated the game to a level that my bankroll wasn't prepared for. And Okay, right on. I won't share that. And yeah, I ended up taking that huge downswing, and I regret it in retrospect. I don't mind shot taking, but then I stayed at that game too. Like I got my ego was writing checks I couldn't cash. So my bankroll was not able to keep up with it, but I kept playing it anyway. So any other questions out there? Anything else you guys want to know, like moving forward with what we're going to be doing in investing? Anything you want to know about bankroll sessions, swings, content, anything like that that's on your mind? Jess, I got to say again, man. Oh, so for those of you who don't know Jess reached out to me. It was probably, I think it was September. So it's been almost a year now. And he was like, "Hey, I'm looking for some poker coaching." And I told him, "Hey, I don't know that I'm the right guy to do that for you." Like I said, there's a lot of people who are like way better than me to teach you. But Jess was persistent, like, "Hey, no, I'd like you to do it. I think, I enjoy your content. I'd like to see you do that." So we ended up meeting. He kind of talked me into it, and I'm really glad he did. Jess is the man. So I'm gonna eventually have some content out for you guys where basically we're recording some of the sessions we're doing now and kind of moving from this like standard poker coaching or like mentorship program to into like Jess and I are discussing hands. There's still a little bit of that coaching role, but now sharing it with you guys so you can get a taste of that as well. And really cool. Ever any tournaments or just cash? Yeah, I did fire the 300 Gladiator event at the WSOP this year. And if you watch the episode, it is day 2 of the 2023 WSOP content I put out. I won one hand in 3.5 hours. So it was not my day. I did not, there were a couple of interesting hands from the event. One where I ended up, it was the first hand, second hand. I think it was the second hand. I was not the button. So second hand of the tournament, I get dealt queen 10 suited. I flop 2 pair. And this guy, we're playing like 100 big blinds with a 60K stack, I think, if I remember right. And he is putting me to the test and like ends up like trying to put me all in basically. And I'm like, it's the first hand. I have 2 pair, but there's a straight on the board possible. There's better 2 pairs. He could have a set. I mean, there's just no way I could call for my entire tournament life. There was a flush draw there and it didn't come through. And I probably should have stuck around and made the call, but I just felt like first hand or second hand of the tournament is someone really going to put their entire stack at risk. This guy went on to play every flush draw like he had the nuts. So I think there's a pretty good chance he just had like a missed flush draw and went for it. I don't know. It was a pretty tough spot, but yeah, it didn't go well. So I can imagine the ups and downs being greater than when we have more experience. Oh, for sure. So the swings at those higher stakes, like stepping up and trying to play above your bankroll, is just so dangerous. I think so. Adam, a friend of mine, plays a lot more 5-10 than I do, and he encouraged me. He's like, "Hey, you don't have to get in this game on a regular basis, but make sure you're willing to shot take." And then the material that I'm studying within like a week of that conversation said the exact same thing. Like, "Hey, don't get stuck. Make sure you shot take. You're going to step up and get your teeth kicked in once in a while, and that's okay. But make sure you continue to like fire some shots, continue to play with better players. And like, especially what Adam suggested, and I like this a lot. If you have a big winning session at like 2-5 or whatever stake you're comfortable at, let's say it's 1-2, you have a big winning session and it's enough to buy you into that next game. It's like it's the perfect time to then go fire and step up and go, okay, like I'm playing with pure profit here. So if I lose, I break even on the day. And so then moving up and giving yourself a shot for a few hours and just getting comfortable and doing that every so often with your profits. Then if you end up having a terrible losing session, not that big of a deal. So I think that was really good advice. And it really helped me to then step into Bellagio and play 5-10. The other thing he said is like, hey, man, just like find a table. Like the 5-10, you might sit with a bunch of sharks and be dead, but go explore some tables because you're going to find someone at a higher stake. One of those tables will be softer and you'll find a game that isn't so bad. It's not so tough to play. So that was definitely good advice and one that I'd recommend. I know, Jess, I know you're getting close, man. Are you ready to step up soon? We've been talking about it for a little bit. I'll let you type for a second. Any other questions you guys have? YouTube, the process, channel moving forward, poker, bankroll, any of that stuff. Oh, let me explain really quick what we're going to be doing with our winnings. So when I win moving forward, we're going to basically take an all-time high. So I'm resetting the bankroll as of this video. And anytime I win from here on out, half of that new total is going to go into the investment account. So let's say I run this thing up, like my first session, I win $1,000. I'm going to invest 500 of that. Then let's say I lose back the thousand. Well, I'm not investing anything again until I get above that thousand. So I basically my total over the next 6 months, half of it is going to get invested into an account. So man, it's hard with the present downswing. Yes. Jess, we just did a session today and we were talking, and Jess has had, you'll have to tell me how many losing sessions in a row, but 6 buy ins worth of downswing right now that he's dealing with. And when he first started, he had like this super positive variance. And I was telling him, like, hey, man, this is great. You're experiencing tons of positive variance. Keep this going. It's good. But then I didn't have the heart to tell him, and I wasn't going to tell him, like in a coaching session, like, hey, the negative variance is coming. You're going to get hit eventually. Brace for it, because then your mind's kind of off. So I just basically, when it showed up, was like, hey, this is normal. You had positive variance to begin with. Here comes the negative variance, but he's in the middle of it right now, and dude, you're slogging through. You're doing a great job, but it sucks when when nothing goes your way. So all right, I'm going to give this thing a few more minutes. If you guys have any questions, happy to answer those. Ammon, let me ask you: is there, like, do you prefer tournament content over cash games content if you have the choice? Because I've fired a few online and then fired the one at the WSOP, but I've been debating like maybe playing a few more to see if we can just get like a huge win. It'd be really fun to like just bink a big win and then be able to put a bunch of that into this investment account. I think it would be kind of a cool thing for the channel. So, but curious what you think. Like, do you prefer the tournament content or do you prefer the cash? All right, I'll let you guys type. Yeah, a couple more minutes and I'm going to wrap this thing up. But hopefully, you guys with your bankrolls, I'm curious if you've had, uh, let's see, I do mainly play cash, but Pendleton has good tourneys and Pearl last Saturday of the month. Right. Dude, I need to get over there. I have not played the one at the Pearl yet, but I have heard so many good things about about those tournaments, and that they're worth playing. Pendleton, I have made plans to get down there multiple times, and for whatever reason, I can just never seem to line it out. Like I'll have a plan to go, and something comes up every single time. But I need to make it down there. Do you play? Do you play every time? Are you close to? You're from around here, but how often do you go down to Pendleton? GH, what's up, man? Good to see you. Enjoy a mix of both cash and tourneys. Absolutely. If you haven't been following Jerry Harris's channel, he's been getting into the tournament stakes quite a bit lately. So, Ammon, let's see. Taking that down for the last 8 times. Dude, sick. Nice work. Mike, I like a little of both. Different philosophy and gameplay. Completely agree with you, sir. It takes a totally different mindset, and it takes a mental toughness to sit there and like just not have the ability to reload and to be short stacked and like know that it's a challenging spot, or that like you want more chips to maneuver and you just don't have that option. Like in cash, you're just like, oh, no problem, let me just top off real quick. But in that tournament, like you get in spots where you're like, man, or even if you're in the chip lead and you need to like decide how much to bully people. Totally agree with you, Mike. Definitely different. Let's see, Jess, are you interested in more short or long term investing? I'm going to start sharing this with you guys, but let me give you kind of a quick idea of where I'm at. Some of the recent reading I've been doing with investing has been around like what Warren Buffett did that made him so successful was he bought like a stock like Coke in the 80s. And well, it paid like 3%. I think it was $2 and some change back then. It paid 3%. So it paid pennies back then, like 6 cents a year. But now, without selling that, his initial investment, he gets almost his entire initial investment back every single year on that. He gets 100% return on his dividend. So it's nuts, the ability for that, because what that company's done is just continued to slowly grow their dividend. And now that I'm realizing that there's the potential to build like an immense return on your cash by just buying a solid company that you expect to be around for the next, say, like 30 years, and just holding and don't do anything with it, as long as they continue to like be profitable, raise their dividend and all that, like you're getting a greater return on your initial investment every single year. And like Warren Buffett doesn't worry about all the swings. Now, I'm not just following Buffett. I think there's a lot of ways to trade. So I am doing some short-term stuff as well. And some of the short term that I have, so far has not worked. And I'll show that to you guys. I'll give you kind of an insight on that. But basically, I've been playing some of the volatility index I've been playing, which is basically telling us like if the market is stable, the price is going to go low. If it's like wild and in flux, it's going to go high. And there's so much bad news in the markets that I've been playing it. The volatility index is extremely low, so I own quite a bit of that to make this short-term play, and I'm waiting for it to spike on some bad news, and then I'll be selling that. Um, so I'm kind of mixing that in. And the other thing I learned recently, and then I'll stop talking stocks for a second, is that I was reading a book that was talking about this machine buying and how when you've got these giant portfolios that are using machine buying and algorithms to purchase, what they'll do is they'll want to buy like, huge volumes of shares. They want to buy hundreds of thousands of shares at a time. And so they'll get this like really positive news, say like a really good earnings report, and the stock will gap up overnight and it opens at a really high price. Well, typically what's going to happen is those machines will continue to buy. So unless the market's in some kind of a downtrend, over the course of the day, you can buy in the morning, watch it go throughout the day, and then sell in the afternoon right before market close. And it's not going to be a huge profit, but you can do a little bit of that. So we'll be doing a little bit of that as well. But for the most part, we're going to be doing a lot of like dollar cost averaging into the dividend payers, and then we'll be playing some of the other stuff. Evan says spring and fall when I can make that time. And they have a summer one too, right? If I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong. And I think that one's smaller. GH, mental toughness is the pinnacle, dude. You are correct. You were grinding some of that too. Like you had some rough sessions where you were getting through like 85% of the field and then busting out. That was pretty brutal. Let's see. Mike, going deep in tournaments are pretty absolutely nothing more thrilling, I feel like for the amount of once you've hit the cash and you're playing for big money, like it's so fun. The adrenaline is absolutely worth it. Let's see. GH says drip dividend reinvestment plan. Yep. Basically, that's going to be a lot of what we're going to be doing, focusing on those big companies. And what I'm looking at is I expect, I think in investing, we want to kind of think about what are the potential futures that could be in front of us. So there's one where nothing goes wrong, right? I'd say it's unlikely, but nothing goes wrong. And I would say that kind of the beauty of doing this like dollar cost averaging and getting a view of the world is if we expect a recession at some point, we want to be in those stocks. Like, so some of the stocks we're going to be owning, and we'll be talking about these are like, we're going to be owning like Procter and Gamble, Johnson and Johnson, McDonald's, Coke, just companies that like, even if you're in a recession, people continue to go to McDonald's. They continue to buy Coke. They continue to buy gasoline. They like just all the companies that are related to those things that people are not going to get rid of. That's really where we want to be. I think, if you're looking at some of the stuff that maybe is doing well right now, like say Marriott's doing really well right now, but I don't think I want to own something that's in like hospitality or tourism or any of those things. I think those don't tend to do well in a recession. So that's kind of the positioning I'm taking is what are people going to continue to buy even if their money's tight? And Jess says, Buffett talked about if you don't know much, just buy S&P 500 and hold. From 73 to 2023, average increase 12% per year, which is not bad. More or less my plan. Mutual funds with some blue chip stock. Yeah. I don't think I'm ever going to buy an index fund. And I understand the rationale behind it. I don't personally love that because it's mostly about appreciation. And depending on when you buy, I think you can either come out way ahead or way behind. And so just my personal approach will not be to own any indexes necessarily. But I will be owning a lot of the companies within the Dow that are strong dividend payer blue chip stocks for sure. And Ammon saying yes. So the summer series, I think it is smaller, but have you ever played the summer series when you're down there? And Jess, I'm curious. You said you've got mutual funds with some blue chip. What are you doing there? And then GH, I got to ask you, do you have something you're working on right now with your dividend reinvestment? And if so, what do you like? Always curious to hear, by the way. I may not buy what you like and you may not buy what I like, but I'm always curious to hear what company you're interested in, what you've done research on, what you like if you're investing. Always like hearing that stuff. So if you have any suggestions or something that really stands out to you that's been good to you, let me know. I'm always looking for another company to do some research on. Seem reinvigorated with poker and investing recently. What was it that brought this on? Man, I guess that's a Jess, you know me well, sir. Yeah, it's been. I really enjoyed the WSOP run. Really had a lot of fun down there. And as I come back and just took kind of a little bit of a hiatus, wasn't at the tables as much. I spent some time kind of thinking about the channel, where it can be moving forward, and I just found that the channel felt stagnant, right? When I set out, I was like, I'm going to be a pro. That's my goal. That's what I'm going to move towards. Had these money goals, made the money goals, and then looked at my grocery bill and went, oh my gosh, like I can't do this. I can't quit my job right now with this inflation and with costs going up. And so then the channel just felt stagnant. It felt like we weren't doing anything. Like I was like, here, I played some cards again, and here's another episode. But there was nothing that I was working towards. Like my initial plan was like to share with you, like, dude, it sucks to pay bills this way, or it's great to pay bills this way, or like I love the free time, but I don't like this, or I wanted to give you that journey, and then there was no journey anymore. And so I think when I got to the point where I had a new goal, a new way to like bring us along and have like something we're working towards, I think that really excited me. And these have such great like crossover between the two, right? Stocks and poker, like it goes so well together. There's so many, both things are just, it's calculated risk, and you're making decisions and then trying to put it in, understand that the results are the results, and then respond, right? So you might like make a decision on the turn in poker and be like, okay, I know what I'm going to do. But then something changes and your opponent does something really weird that you didn't expect. And you go, hey, wait a second, I need to reevaluate. The markets can be exactly the same. You can be like, okay, I'm buying this company. I know where it's going, da da da. And then you hold it for 3 months and it goes in the toilet and you go, okay, I got to let it go. I put in my stop loss. I'm getting out, right? So I just think there's a ton of correlation and a ton of like great things that we're going to be able to pull from each other that I definitely, as I'm listening to like smarter people than me in these books that I'm reading or audiobooks I'm listening to, podcasts, all that stuff, I'm just finding so much that makes sense to like put together with poker. I think that's exciting. And then the journey is definitely where I'm at. So Amazon, Google, and Nvidia. Nice. Did you have Nvidia before the bump? Did you get paid on that? Dude, it spiked so hard recently. Okay, GH, I don't. I have individual stocks, but have looked a lot at drips. Okay, right on. I mean, that's essentially what we're going to be doing. We're just going to be really controlling how we're reinvesting. So some of them will be set up like an automatic reinvestment, and we're not going to do that. I'm going to instead be like choosing my stock each time. So what's probably going to happen is like in poker, we tend to get these ups and downs. We're probably going to get a big chunk at a time, right? So we might put in like 500 at a time and buy several stocks. We might put in 1,000 if we have a great session. We might be putting in just crumbs after like a tiny win. So it's going to change what we do each time we buy. And so I got paid. Jess, good for you, man. Yeah, that Nvidia bump was huge. Crazy thing about, I know everybody's going to say this, right? But I'm just looking at I own MCHP and some other tech companies. And so when I was looking at Nvidia and was like, I should pull the trigger on that soon. And sure enough, I missed it. But yeah, good for you, man. That's awesome. Yeah, auto typically. Yeah, exactly. So we're not going to take the auto approach because I want to be able to maneuver a little bit more, and I want to be a little more intentional with what I'm getting involved in. But I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Like having the auto, if you know what companies you want and you're going to reinvest automatically into them, great strategy. Nothing wrong with that. Let's see. I am not familiar with those. I'm going to write those down, Jess. JQUA and Moat. Right on. Is that tech as well? You seem like most of what you're buying is tech. All right, JQUA and Moat. Okay. Got them. I'm going to check those out, dude. Thank you. Appreciate it. Anything else? If you guys are out there and you have other companies, like I said, that you're in and you're like, man, this is a great investment, let me know, please. I'm always looking, always looking. And I'm going to show you guys some of the software that I've been using. But one of the things that I am currently paying for is I'm paying for Qualtrim, and that was through the Joseph Carlson YouTube channel. Found him a while back, started following him and some of the stuff he's doing. Just really like the tools he's using. So we're going to analyze some stocks using that. And I'm going to be showing you, like when we get together Friday, I'm going to be showing you Vici and kind of like free cash flow and earnings and just some of that key data that helps you to make your decision of whether or not you should pull the trigger. When I first started investing, it was kind of a lot like poker, but I was, I was just kind of throwing the money in there, kind of learning to play in the space. And I would like know what, like, oh, I know of this company. Like I bought Caesars just because I was like, oh, it's Vegas. Vegas will never go anywhere. Terrible decision. Lost a bunch of money on Caesars. They were like close to bankruptcy there for a while. So I lost a bunch of money on that. And then a friend was like, hey, weed's a really good thing to invest in. So I just like threw some money at weed, and I got destroyed again. So that was the time where I had like I was just like getting a stock ticker that a friend was interested in and throwing money in and losing it. And now I'm at the point where we'll at least do some research and talk about what the company is, why we want to buy them, why we want to own them, and all that stuff. So, all right, I'm going to just open it up. Any last questions before we wrap here? I got a few more minutes if you guys have anything else in your mind. Otherwise, we can call this thing good, and I will meet up with you Friday. Cool. All right. Well, let's go ahead and call this good. If you guys don't have anything, appreciate you being here. Yeah, thanks for hanging out. It sure was. It was good. And like I said, I'm excited to get this thing going. We'll talk to you Friday. I'm expecting those episodes to be maybe 10-minute episodes, somewhere in that range, and it'll be just a lot of this discussion, some updates on the channel, what's going on, and then we'll just keep moving through where we invested money, whether we won or lost this week, and hopefully we can run this thing up, get an early retirement. And I hope you guys will join me in the process if you're interested. So thanks for being here. And I'll talk to you in a couple days. Hey, thanks, Jess. Appreciate you, man.